Hey there, I'm Nikki Starcat Shields, author, book midwife, and leader of Transformational Writing Retreats. And I'm starting this new video series that's a 7-part series on the basic skeleton of how to write a book. So writing a whole book isn't easy necessarily, but it is simple. And I'd like to share with you over the next, 14 weeks, because it's going to be like every other week, the process that I use to create a book, or you can use it for another shorter piece of writing if you want to. So we're going to start at the beginning. Phase 1, I'm calling the big idea. So this is the part that's probably the most fun for me anyway. Ideas tend to come along in the course of daily life, and your job really at this point in the process is just to sort of snatch them out of the air and capture their essence, whether in writing or in the kind of the basket of miscellaneous things in the backseat of your mind. Just, keep them there. Some ideas are going to stick with you even if you don't write them down or capture them in some way, and they'll keep poking their heads back up to make sure you're paying attention to them. Others might wander off. That's okay. They'll come back to you if you're meant to work together. I truly believe that is a thing. Some ways that you can kind of cultivate your basic receptiveness to good ideas are daydreaming. We often think of daydreaming as a bad thing and a distraction, but actually for creative types, which is everybody really, it's a good thing. It's a good way to cultivate these ideas. Getting outside in nature when you can. Right now it's very cold here where I am, but when you can, get outside, walk around. Reading and watching things that spark your interest. Meditating or using other ways of listening within. Yoga is really great for that. I'm sure there are others as well. Tai Chi comes to mind. Playing. This is something we adults in our Western culture don't often do, is just allow ourselves to freely play. And you might want to, borrow a little kid to play with if you have some in your community, because they are pros at it. They're the experts. And then having conversations with fascinating, creative people, that often sparks ideas. Collaboration is an awesome way to encourage your creative ideas. So I find that keeping an idea journal or notebook, or maybe a memo or file on your phone or laptop, can be helpful in the ideas phase of the process. And sometimes, even though you might believe that the right ideas will come back around for you, it can be frustrating to know that you had some amazing thought about an idea for your book or for something else and you just can't find it. So it's great to kind of capture those. You can be a list maker. I'm a Virgo sun, so I'm kind of a natural list maker, but you can encourage that in yourself if you're not usually. Jot down your ideas when they're fresh. You may not use them all. You probably won't use them all. I have so many ideas in notebooks that I haven't even accessed in so much time, but that's okay. Even if you use only like 5 or 10% of the ideas that you capture, it's worth the little tiny bits of time that you take to write down your inspirations as they occur in the moment. I find that most of my creative ideas need some time to kind of marinate or simmer. Even a short-term project, let's say like a blog post, I want to write a blog post, it's separate. Coming up with the idea for it is separate from starting to write it or even outline it right away. I like to let it just marinate or simmer on the back burner while I go about the business of my daily life. It helps to leave room for daydreaming and pondering the idea as it comes up. But don't force it. Let it breathe, let it be, let it marinate. If you have a deadline for a certain piece of writing, then that means working backwards from that deadline. So you need to leave yourself plenty of time, and be sure to factor in the time that your idea needs to simmer on the back burner of your imagination. There's a fine line, though, I find, between letting it simmer long enough and just plain procrastinating. So just be aware of that. Sometimes we're just like, oh, I just don't want to deal with that. And it might be resistance, or there might be some other reason why you're procrastinating. But really, if you can just let it simmer for a bit and then schedule time to actually start working on it, which is going to be what we talk about in the next phase. The next phase is going to help you bring your idea forward, where you can begin to engage with it and work with it more consciously. So more on that in a couple of weeks. Next week I'll have a book review for you, and then the week after we'll move on to phase 2. Let me know what you think about phase 1 and the ideas I've shared here and this series. You can leave a comment below, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you for watching and checking it out. Have fun.